Okay, so we are back with another finals of Grand Arena Championships in week two. This is going to be episode six, the return of the TI. So that's right, folks. We are faced with Team Instinct again on our finals, the second week in a row, and it's going to be an interesting match again. And just like my previous Team Instinct opponent in the finals, I'm faced with lowered expectations this time, and his roster and mods are pretty amazing. He's got lesser amount of Zetas compared to me, but again, I think that's the reason that I get matched up with these kind of characters is because I have a large amount of Zetas. But as you can see from the roster, it's really well developed and pretty good mods as well in terms of speed and all of that. And you expect that from a Team Instinct roster. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And what I've done over here is I have recorded my matches separately, and then I'm doing a voice over this time. So let's take a quick look at my defense. I've got CLS and Bounty Hunters with Watt this time. I'm hoping that Watt is able to go first, give the protection buff to Bosk, and then hopefully that'll set Bosk taunting. So that was my rationale behind that team. So what I'll be doing is uh, I wanted to set a few tough teams, tricky teams in the front in order to get them to waste some of their really meta teams. So that's why I kept Evox with Nest and clones with Baris, with Shakti in there as well. And then hopefully, if once JTR and a few others are exhausted in the front, they come back and struggle a little bit on banners with Karth and Kira teams. And similarly at the top, I've kept Darth Revan this time behind the other zone. And I've kept a weak Rebels team because I didn't have any roster depth to put anything else. So I kept my Revan without Basti this time. So wanted to keep Basti on offense to try under EP because I've been hearing a lot of good things about it and I've never really tried it. But that's the rationale for that. So again, reminder that I'm recording all of this after the fact, after my battles, because I wanted to concentrate and do my battles first, since it was a good roster, and then record it afterwards, which is why the video is a little delayed as well. So in the front, he's kept two very simple teams, both the Separatist squads over here, the Geo squad as well as the General Grievous squad without Newt but with Droidica this time. Pretty formidable one, good speeds, good offense mods on them. And then down below, my opponent has kept his Darth Revan team, again without Basti, and then his crew team. So even my last Team Instinct opponent did not keep Basti on defense with his Darth Revan. Preferred to keep it on offense to use with EP, I think. That's what he told me in the comments. So that's something I think which I've seen a pretty consistent theme with these Team Instinct guys is they prefer to keep Basti on offense just because of the extra boost that she gives to EP teams. And I think I've been seeing that more and more often with other defenses as well. Other teams, a lot of people tend to do that because you're still going to be taking a really tough team against the Darth Revan. All right, so now what I'm doing is I think I'm going against the General Grievous team with my Night Sisters. Now, in my last video, I showed you guys how to counter a General Grievous team with a Talzin lead with a G13 Zeta Daka. And it's been you've seen me do that for quite a few grand arenas, and it's typically a very reliable way to do it. But having said that, there are some times when you get focused down upon, and if your Daka is focused down early and she's not able to heal up early enough, then you can end up losing the match. So that is always a risk. A few people have asked me in my after my last video, how many times has this team been successful for you? The Daka G13 Zera Daka against Grievous. Um, I've played this battle tons of times in Grand Arena Championships as well as in TW. But as you can see over here, once Daka gets really low on health and you don't have any more healing left, it becomes extremely dicey because Zombie's two free revives can be exhausted very easily with Grievous and his AoE, and nothing can save Daka. So in this case, you can see my Daka ended up costing me the battle, and I ended up going for a second battle against these guys. So at this point itself, I knew that I probably lost the match since I knew that my team instinct opponent is going to definitely one shot all of my team. So having lost one battle, it's just not enough to recover. I decided to just go ahead and clear his board anyway because I couldn't clear the board of the last team instinct guy. I thought at least let me go ahead and do a good job against the rest of the team, having started off in such a bad way. Not only did I have bad luck with my Night Sister team, but over here, as you can see, I lost my Treya immediately. And at this point, I was sure that even this is going to be a two battle uh, victory. Um, so I knew that I probably might be able to maybe get one Geo down before Spy is able to one shot Scion. But luckily, a few of them died with some of these debuffs and some of these assists, and Nihilus was able to one shot one of them. And here at this point, you saw how low in life my Scion was, but he just barely managed to hang in there while he got uh, held by insanity. And I managed to finish with 57 banners, decent even for losing one character. And I think I was a little lucky walking away with that match. So what I decided to do was ignore this Grievous team for now, finish off the Darth Revan because that's going to be the tougher match. And because if I'm not able to clear the zone, then there's efficiency doesn't matter at all. So I decided to go in with my Grievous Nuke squad, and I've used it a few times quite successfully. You end up losing a lot of banners. It's not great for efficiency, but as long as the Malik doesn't have too much tenacity, that team really does do a decent job. At least it manages to take out a few key characters, and then you can clean it up. So I was fully prepared to go in to clean up, but what ended up happening was luckily I got target locks on both the tanks, so I knew that they will definitely not taunt anymore. So so the first thing that you do is since there's no Basti over here, I tried to get rid of Malik, but he did not go through. I mean, it didn't affect him at all. So I ended up doing the AoE, which almost killed him. And even the crawl on Malik the second time couldn't kill him. But luckily, I had my IPD ready to do the job. And then it was only Sith Trooper left to clean up. So you typically usually get 47 banners with the Grievous squad because you end up losing everyone, and and you only remain behind with Grievous with full health. So you typically end up getting about that many if you decide to one shot it. And for his crew team, his Kylo team, it was pretty well modded and geared, but my Kylo was faster, which is why I decided to do a mirror match. I typically save crew teams and first order teams for Darth Revan cleanup, but in this case, since I one shot the Darth Revan, I decided to take these guys against the enemy crew because I didn't want to spend any of my premium teams because I wanted to see what's there at the back. So I saved my Padme, my Bugs, and all the other good teams that I had for what's at the back. So here I'm just doing a basic on characters with the debuffs so that the taunt stays on crew. As I've mentioned in some of my other videos before, in this team it's easiest for crew to recover health and protection as opposed to the other characters. So that's why I always like to keep the taunt on crew so that the other characters attack him. Plus, he takes a very limited damage from dots and in generally he recovers a lot of health and protection by himself whenever he's hit. So that's why I prefer to attack debuffed characters with him to keep the taunt on him. As you can see over here, I almost lost my first order officer, but these guys luckily they have two taunts, so I managed to get him healed and basically stun control the team and managed to get him back up to a decent amount of health. So as you can see over here, I'm taking out the damage dealers first. There was a storm. There was a pilot and then the fox. Both these guys I took out and then just kept both the Kylos stun locked to continue with the battle. Now at this stage, I'd almost lost hope of winning anything because my efficiency also wasn't great, and I'd already had one extra battle, so I was in a tough spot, and I just wanted to clear the board, but I did not. I don't think I'd given up at this stage yet. I think I still wanted to. Um, I wanted to maximize my banners as best as I can, which is why you see me delaying over here and trying to give as much health and protection back to crew. I don't think I would be able to recover all of the health and protection on first order officer, but at least I think I'm able to get crew down to full health and full protection, which is why I'm delaying a bit over here. So yeah, so this battle, I think I end up getting about 58 because there my first order officer just gave the last piece of buff to crew, and I'm getting about 58 banners over here. So next I see what's at the back so that I can decide what to take against Grievous. And then I see over here that he's kept his clones with Barris and R2. Now this is the team that Clash had suggested, and then a separatist squad with some scoundrels. So I decide to go in against the clones, and my standard counter is is Geonosians. Uh, Even the best clone teams can be taken out pretty easily with Geonosians. They're a hard counter to clones. So here you can see the whole team goes first, and they don't have the clones don't have any days, so nothing can prevent the brute from countering. And when he counters, he does plenty of damage. Now, if you follow Clash from the Scoundrel server, he's showcased a few of these videos on this particular combination of clones, which is really great on defense. Barris with R2 with the 3-5 clones. But as you can see over here, um, with the Geos, it's almost an auto battle even with these guys. So if you don't want to waste a meta team against the clones, and you know that your opponent has got really good clones, I would I would just save your Geos on offense because quite a few teams which can take out Geos these days. But they can be really useful for you on offense with against clones. So what I'm doing over here is similar to what I do with the Geos against Zombie and Night Sisters. Is I'm hitting against R2 who has plenty of health pool, and because Zaris is in the team, she ends up healing him a lot. So I'm trying to just delay the battle a little bit because these two guys are not a threat, and I'm trying to get the heal ability from Generation Brood Alpha up so that my characters are healed. Then when I'm sure that they're almost at 60%, when they're at 100% health and protection, I basically finish off the two to guarantee the 60 banners. So that's what I'm doing out. And then I decide to see what to take against the other guys. I think I think I decide to skip this battle for now, and I go back the to clean up the Grievous team because I need to get through that zone. I need to clear the whole field if I have to stand any chance of getting close to winning, or at least give a respectable fight. So what I do is at this point I decide to take in my Jedi Knight Revan team, because I don't think I have anything else which can clear a Grievous. The good thing is there's no B2, so there won't be crazy turn meter generation on the team at least. So I decided to fill in a fifth Juhani as a tank, and just decide to go in with this team to see if I can't take it down. There's still Magna Guard in there, so that means that um, everyone does start stealth, but Grievous does manage to go first, and he comes out of stealth, so that's great because then I can go ahead and mark him. And because there's no B2, the first mark can very easily go on Grievous this time. So right now I'm just trying to take him down as fast as I can. I think I made a mistake over here. I should have. Oh no, I probably can't target anyone else. I tried to stun Droidica, but I'd forgotten that Droidica had tenacity up. But it wouldn't have mattered because even if I tried to stun Grievous, who's the only other person I could target, Grievous would have dispelled any buffs because any debuffs because he was less than 100% health. So that was a waste of an ability. But here I continue to work on Grievous with Yoda and try to take him down. And now that Grievous is down, the rest of the team is really not much of a threat. So at this stage, I'm just trying to maximize my banners because that's something it's relatively easier to do with the Darth Revan team just because on counters they get um, so much healing on both health and protection. So here you can see um, my Ezra is almost about to die, but I'm not really that worried because I've got Jolie in there as well. So he should be able to revive him if it comes to that. Um, but I keep calling Ezra as much as I can with others just so that he gets back at least some health and protection. And now what I'm doing is I know that Droidica has got damage immunity, and that's why I tried to attack him. I ended up losing my Yoda, but I'll get him back with Jolie in a second now. But I tried to get rid of B1 first, just because he ends up healing a ton and he ends up assisting a lot as well. So I get my Yoda back, and then I'm just trying to recover health and protection right now. I don't think I do too well over here because these guys have already lost tons of protection. Um, but uh, but yeah, I think I at least try to recover full health on everyone, which I just did with the that move from Revan, and I end up probably losing protection on a couple of them. And this was again unfortunate because I ended up losing 1 point on JKR over here, so I ended up getting 36 instead of close to 40. If I had cleanly one shotted, I would have got 40. So I lost 4 banners on protection and health. At the back, I see that he's got a Sisters and he's got a vanilla Karth team without Zeta on Zalbar. But even without the Zeta, that team recovers quite fast. So what I do is I see what I have left. I've got Basti Wampa, I've got Padme, and I've got EP Vader team. So I decide to go in against the I decide to use my Padme team against Night Sisters because that's the most natural fit over here. And I think I decided to go undersized over here because I needed to recover as many banners as possible. And I knew that C3PO, while he's great on that team, to apply Confuse on Zombie and some of the others, um, Confuse also prevents turn meter gain, which this team does a lot. But still thought that I could do the job with just these four. It was not much of a risk, but these guys were fast and really well modded. They're all G13, and they're really well modded for offense and all of that. So it could have gone either way um, if the wrong character was one shot, because the Talzin had plenty of offense and they could have easily hit under. She could have easily hit under health and one shot one of the weaker characters like maybe Ahsoka or someone. All right, so now I'm just trying to get the protection down on everyone. This stage I apply buff immunity on zombie. I couldn't. I attempted to apply it. I couldn't do that. Just applied healing immunity. But you can see over here my General Grievous is almost out. So that's why I tried to get some health up, protection up on him. And now I think both the so what's happening is every time I get protection up through either Padme or Anakin, Asajj ends up dispelling all of that, which is why I don't have much courage built up at all. And these guys are taking a while to get down. So it and now over here, the plague almost takes three of my characters out. Talzin's AOE. Um, so it's a dicey situation to be in. I think the battle would have been much simpler if I had um, if I had C3PO in there, but I needed to take the risk and get as many banners as I can. And then when I got a chance, I tried to take out uh, Daka because she's the only one who can revive in this team now. And once she's gone, then it's just a matter of cleaning up. And then I just try to take care of um, the characters with the. I think Asaj is the one who hits the next hardest. So I take care of her first, and then I try to go after either Thousand or Spirit. So surprisingly, not much courage has been built up in these battles at all, which is why these sisters are not going down that easy. But now at this stage, I had about 17 stacks on Jedi Knight Anakin, so that guy went pretty fast, Spirit. So I managed to get 57 banners. If I had got C3PO in there and lost protection on him as well, I would have probably got 55 banners. So that was a 2 banner benefit that I got by not having C3PO in there, because I would have never ended with full protection on any of them. I had to lose protection on at least some of them, and there was no way that I would have been able to recover protection. So I got 2 extra banners just by not having C3PO in there. And since I had C3PO in here as spare, I just decided to take him with my Basti Wampa team to try to get these guys down. I thought C3PO's Confuse would be useful on these guys. So Wampa, G13 Wampa with all the buffs from Basti is tons of fun. You'll see over here um, how Wampa builds up his offense, and towards the end, that's when the fun starts. So right now, Zalbar is taunting, but luckily he's got Daze. That Daze gets cleansed by Juhani, and she goes into stealth as well. But I'm trying to get rid of um, Zalbar's taunt at least. I don't have any more dispels apart from Basti, but as you can see over here, I had tough luck over here where the dispel was dodged, and my Wampa is dazed as well, so he's not assisting much as well. So that's the thing with missions assists; they give a lot of days out, and you need a couple of cleansers at least to get the job done. Now I pass this on to Basti, and I know that Wampa can't assist, but at least I can I can start working on the others. Now I managed to land buff immunity and a couple of stacks of confuse on Zalbar. So now I know that he's not going to taunt, so I try to take out um Candris right now because he does a lot of these AOEs, as well as single target attacks. Okay, now the fun begins. Watch this. 84k on Candris. Try to apply a confuse there, but 84k again on on mission by Wampa. 86k on Karth, and that was a counter with 40k or something without a crit, and 70k on Juhani. So last 5 hits of the Wampa, it's he just went nuts on these guys. That's always a pleasure to see with a G13 Wampa. Okay, so now there's only one team left to take out, and I wanted to end with full 60 banners here, and it's a tricky team to take out. So if you notice here, you've got a couple of revivers, you've got Newt, you've got who revives himself, you've got Nest, who's always a problem to strip banners from the enemy team, and you've got Vandor and L3 who can be pretty irritating as well. So I decided to go in with my Sith squad with the Thrawn for the fracture and the Basti under EP. I wanted to try this out. Now, against any Watt team, just like Geo's, the natural counter is Treya, against Watt, the natural counter is always going to be Thrawn, because the main danger of a Watt team is he's going to give out the tech first, which is going to be the taunt on the tank, which is not going to go away. So you need to be able to get rid of that tank taunting as soon as possible. And the best, most effective way to neutralize that taunt is either fracture or isolate. And if you're not able to spare Treya, then your next best option is Thrawn to take care of the perma taunt, so that you can use your other characters to basically target the others in the team. So that's what I did over there. The fracture is now exhausted, but at least I was able to get rid of one character before the taunt came back. So now I'm going to pass the turn meter back to Vader because he had the most turn meter on him, because I want the fracture to come back again so that I can fracture them and get going again. So now I'm trying to target Chewie, Vandor Chewie, because he's the one who'll revive. So I'm applying tons of debuffs, tons of fear, tons of dots, just to generate turn meter for the team. You can see my team is always at almost full turn meter for everyone, and that's always something great to see. So there was really never any danger of my team losing any banners, even though this team is designed to lose plenty of banners. There's Dooku and L3 who do counters. There's Nest who does an AoE and who does days. There was Vandor in the team who revives. So this team was designed to give you less banners, but just because of the amazing number of debuffs that this team gives out, I never really was in any danger of this team taking a turn. Here, Newt does manage to take a turn and applies some debuffs on everyone with his confuse. But that's not a big deal. I dispel the confuse, and then I continue trying to take him out. So here L3 is gone, so I try to pass the turn meter back to whoever needs topping up, which is Vader over here, and then I apply some ability block and try to stun Nest, because now at this stage it's just a question of controlling Nest and getting rid of Newt as soon as possible, because he can whittle down the health and protection with his extortion ability. So Nest is not a problem. She'll be there are plenty of people in this team who can stun and fracture. So Nest is not a problem to control. I just need to get rid of Newt first so that I can control this team effectively. Now I've got a couple of minutes left, so I just do my thing versus Nest. I try to put as many debuffs as I can on her, and this gives me a chance to top up the protection on a lot of my characters. So I can essentially try to one shot Nest once she comes out of her stun. So that's what I'm doing over here, just trying to apply as many dots and debuffs as I can. And now, luckily, at this point, Nest came out of her her stun, and Vader was able to do the culling blade and get her down to yellow health. Now I try to land a shock, and you can see already so many debuffs have been applied, and it's quite easy to control Nest at this point. I save my fracture. I don't really need it. I might need to top up someone later, so that's what I use it for. And then I just keep waiting again till Nest comes out of fracture. So I'm really impressed overall with this EP squad. There we go. The Nest is down. So EP squad. So I think this team is definitely capable of taking down much tougher teams. This was technically a tough team because it had Watt in there, L3, Newt, and all of that. But that team wasn't really very dangerous. It didn't have much damage. There was just tons of reviving and banner stripping abilities there. So overall, I one shot everything with just two shotting my the General Grievous team. So my Night Sisters really disappointed me that time, and that probably ended up costing me the match. But if you look at my overall score, I got about 1875, which means that my opponent needed an average of 55 banners per match if he one shot everything. And I had I was hoping that he would stumble at least on one team that would give me some sort of a chance, but he had plenty of his roster left, and I don't doubt that he would go ahead and one shot everything of mine. So I did have a couple of good teams, but most of my teams were you could easily one shot them, especially this Akbar team. It probably would have given him 61, 62 banners. But apart from my Darth Revan, my CLS and Bounty Hunter and maybe clones, I really don't think any of my other teams would have given him a problem. Okay, so since I'm recording this after the fact, I wanted to give you guys a quick update of where the match finally ended up. Um, so my opponent ended up one-shotting all my teams with the exception of my boss team, which is basically the Watt with bounty hunters. There he had two battles, so it gave me a little hope, but ultimately they were able to one-shot everything else and with just a little better efficiency than me. So my opponent ended up getting 1876 to my 1875. So that was really heartbreaking where I lost by one banner in the end. So that's why it's so important to try to maximize every single one of your banners. Even if you think you have no hope of winning, you need to maximize every single one of the matches. Each one of the undersized matches that I went in with, all those banners were extremely useful. And if I had got one more protection or one more health on any one of my characters, I would have tied, and two more I would have won. So that, folks, is the importance of trying to maximize your banners everywhere. So it was unfortunate. I lost by 1 point. I think this is the closest match that I've ever had. Typically, I win or lose by about 10, 20, 30 points or so. This is definitely the closest match I've had, and definitely one of the most fun matches I've had. The best matches that I've really enjoyed are the four or five that I've lost against really tough opponents like this one or the one before last week's final. So those are definitely the most enjoyable ones for me. But yeah, that's it for the second week of Grand Arena Championships. I will give you guys an update on when I meet you guys in the third week of Grand Arena Championships. We should have a few new characters updated in Zetad, so it should be fun. So thanks for joining me. I will catch you guys later. Have a good day.